Now that you've bought your Jamberry wraps, you need to know how to apply them. So on each sheet of wraps, there are 7 wraps that are used for your fingers, the first 7 here, and the first 7 here, although I've already used one, you'll see that it's missing. And then the last 2 wraps are used for your toes. I'm not going to really cover that on this video, but when you do your toes, the second to largest one is for your big toes. You're going to cut it in half and it will cover your 2 big toes. And then the largest one you divide into 8 pieces, and those cover your 8 little toes with a little bit of trimming to make them the proper size and shape. But we're going to be applying one to a finger. So what you want to do is take your sheet and figure out which wrap best fits the finger that you're going to wrap. So I'm going to be doing this pointer finger here, and I already know, because I've been doing this for a while, that the 3rd wrap is the size that fits, but you can kind of line it right up on top of your finger. You want to make sure it fits inside of your nail, that it will not be larger than your nail, because it will not stick to your skin. So once you have the right size, we're going to get our application kit out. If you don't have one of these yet, most of the stuff inside here, you have things in your house you could use. These are just really good quality. So the first thing we need to do is prep our nail. So I'm going to take an alcohol wipe, which you could always just use rubbing alcohol in a cotton ball. And I'm going to clean off my nail. This is really important to get the oils off of your nail. It's important because it's what allows the wrap to stick. And I'm also going to use a rubber cuticle pusher, which looks like this, and push my cuticles back. You can also use a wooden orange stick, which I'll pull out of my kit in a second for another purpose. This is just a little bit softer. So cuticles are pushed back. This is the orange stick that I was talking about. You can use this end here to push your cuticles back, but like I said, I prefer the rubber cuticle pusher. So I'm going to take my sheet of wraps, and I use the orange stick to help me pull the wrap off the sheet. Now I'm only going to use half of a wrap, so what I do is I kind of push this under and lift until the wrap starts coming up, and I pull it about halfway up, and then I get my scissors. And I'm real careful not to touch the back of the wrap. I let the stick do that because I don't want to get the oils from my fingers onto the wrap. And I'm just going to cut the wrap in half. Now, when I grab this, the next thing I have to do is heat it. And let me just show you, I have my Jamberry mini heater here. If you don't have one of these, you can use a blow dryer. What's really nice about the mini heater is that it's hands-free. And I'll show you what it looks like sitting here on the table. Oops. And it's very, very quiet. If I turn it on, you can hardly hear it. So I am going to grab the wrap with my hand, but the cut part is not going to be on my nail. That's going to get trimmed off. So that's where I'm going to grab it. The rounded part of the wrap is what's going to go at the base of my cuticle. Whoops. Like so. So I don't want to touch that part because that's what goes onto my nail. So I'll grab the straight edge and I'll put the wrap in front of my heater. And it's usually about 5 seconds or so, and you'll see the wrap start to curl. See that? That tells you that it's heated and ready. So now I'm going to place it on my fingernail, and I want to get it real close to the cuticle but not on top of it. And I always press down the center of the nail and then out to the sides to try to not get any wrinkles or creases. One little tip I've noticed, if you're using one of the sparkly wraps, they're a little bit thicker. And with them, less is more. You don't want to press as much, quite as much as I do with these. I really press a lot. I'll also take my cuticle pusher and press it down even more. Kind of gives you a little bit more leverage to press it in there. And I also like to sort of pull and tug over the top of my nail. You want to get a good seal at the top. So now I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to trim. I turn my nail over and sort of trim along the edge of my nail. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to use the file to get the rest of it off. If you find this challenging, especially when you're doing your your dominant hand, which means you're using your non-dominant hand, you can trim it with nail clippers instead of the scissors. And then to get that excess that's still there off, I'm going to use a nail file. And the Jamberry nail file is amazing. It's so much better than the ones you'll buy at any store. So when you file, you want to file with a downward motion. And you can be pretty aggressive with it, and you'll see the extra falling off. And sometimes you have to pull it a little bit. And I will sometimes also take my clippers if there's parts that aren't quite coming. I'll clip the nail a little bit. To get the excess off. And the last thing I'm going to show you is just a little tip that I've learned. I'm going to take a plastic baggie, put my finger inside it, and wrap it tightly over the nail. And then I put my finger in front of the heater and hold it there for 5 seconds or so until it starts to feel hot. And that just gives it an extra good seal. And that's how we apply our wrap. And then I will just take my sheet and I'm going to take off that second half and do the pointer finger on the other hand. But you can see here I've got a really cute manicure and it took me very little time.